Okay, so let's take a look at how you can deploy container instance in Azure. And for that, we will make use of process within Azure portal, right? So first thing that we are going to do is we will sign into Azure portal, and from there, I will click on either create a resource or I will click on all services. Now, if you check the containers from all services, you will find container instance. You can click on container instance, and then here you will find that everything is empty. There is literally nothing here, and option that you get here is create container instances, right? So you will simply click on create, and once you do that, you would be able to configure one container for yourself. Now here you can see you have free subscription, or if you are on pay as you go plan, you can pick that one up. So you pick the resource group. Here you can see I pick one such, right? And then I will name my container, let's see, as dev contain, right? Now I will pick the region. By default it's selected Asia Pacific for me. In your case it could be different, or you can manually choose from the list as well, right? Then come SKUs. So this is available for all regions, and it will help your performance. Usually confidential one and standard one are the options, so in some regions only one is available. Now comes the image resource. So here quick start images is one option, or using Azure Container Registry, or you can connect to others. That's one option. Now I want to create a container with specific CPU size. Here you can see 1 vCPU, 1.5 GB memory, and 0 GPUs. I can change this size. To the right you can manually change the cores, memory, and GPU, right? So for some reason, as you can see, GPU is not available. So if you are doing any machine learning as such, then you won't be able to use container with GPU in some regions. So you will have to change the regions. The cost associated with that will also change, and so does the available size. So in my case, what I have done is I will have no other option than to go with the default. So my choice would be going with the current setup. So I will click next for networking. Here I get option to set things up as public, private, and none option in case you don't want public or virtual network, and it will be just access your container logs from command line from within the Azure, right? So you pick public option. Here you can give all those DNS labels and ports available. By default port 80 is available, so you get that option. You can add additional ports, for example your other ports 80 or say 3000 or any other HTTPS port. You can enable them, right? Now once we are done with networking, we can click on advanced, where you can see restart policy. So restart policy is triggered here in case of failure, or always or never. So I am choosing the on failure option, right? So that is one of the options that you have, right? Then there are environment variables that you have, right? You can choose key and value pairs for that, and then you can choose the key management option. So Microsoft managed keys is one such options, right? So here once we pass the advanced tab, next is tags. So tags are used usually to categorize your resources, organize them, and then call them up based on the tag, right? So here if you don't want to create a tag, that is also good enough. You can go ahead by simply clicking on review and create. Now this will go for validation. During the validation, you will find that you have this option to check all the configuration that you have set, right? You can always go click on previous before clicking on create, because If you don't want to go with specific options like say memory I want to change to 2 GB, or say add more CPU cores, I can do so by clicking on previous and going to specific areas which you want to update, right? As you can see, validation came out as passed, so I can move ahead and create this particular container instance, and it will go for deployment, and it will also change the page to specific deployment page, so you have something to explore into, right? And usually it takes 5 minutes or maybe more in case of the region you have selected, right? So I would recommend you to wait for at least 5 minutes, and once the deployment is done you will find the green check mark and you will get the option to go to resources. Meanwhile, you can check the amount of test and status that is came out as passed. Now you can see deployment is complete. You can go to resource. Right here you can see the CPU taken and memory currently in use, and the network queries showing in and out. Right now we can take a look at some of the options. Before that, I want to show you this FQDN option. However, this is not enabled in our case because we didn't set any DNS or so, and that's why it is not available here yet. So the thing is, you can check the setting for container. Here you can see currently you have the image in a running state. Then there are few more things to check. Tasks for your automation, right? Here you can add new tasks. Then there is export template. Once you parameterize everything, you can export that template, right? Okay, as you can see, your IP, your OS type, and specific configurations are in JSON here, right? You can download this particular next time you want to use it, or save it in a library where you are saving such templates, right? Then there is also deploy option if you want to deploy this, right? Now apart from that, we can take a look at things like, let's see, logs and properties. So here you can also take a look at the logs that you have created, right? You can click on add and then go ahead for the logs. Then there are properties. Now here you can see your IP address on which this is the container that is being created, right? Now we can take a look at access control and tags we didn't set up, so we don't have that. Now let's take a look at my access to this particular resource. So we will take a look at access options. Here you can see we are service administrators, right? Now next thing, you can also add additional users within your Azure Active Directory into this particular containers access as well. You can set their roles, then you can deny some of them access, etc. Right now, apart from all of that, we checked automation settings, and we can also take a look at metrics. Okay, now within your dashboard you see this IP address, right? Make sure to copy this in new tab, simply click paste and go, and you will find that you have your container instance running. Now if you were to be specifically running say Nginx or any other image and you want to view specific web app or so, you can create such. Then on the top of that, your container should run with that public address. Considering we didn't do any of that, we will be seeing such message, and from here actually we will have to deploy our own web app instance. Say if you want to run Nginx along with it, you can do so, right? So this particular container was kind of like hello world type for you to view and explore. So I hope you get the idea how to deploy the Kubernetes container instance on Azure and by making use of Azure portal.